They were mowing our grass during this episode. So if it sounds like there's a helicopter driving by during sections of this episode, it's because they decided to mow the 12-inch section of grass outside of our door 14 times today, including hitting the rocks at the building and weed whipping the actual side of the building. So apologize for the audio. Before we jump in, let me talk about our friends over at Vanguard Digital Printing Systems. They have a lot of different options in the market. They have flatbed options. They have roll-to-roll hybrid options. They have an option for every customer. Their American innovation and their options for expandability make it so they have the solution for any customer. Get it at Wensco.com.
It's usually you.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You must
I can see you.
You must
You're
just look very huggable.
No.
That must be what it is.
Listen, I know what it is. You think like, okay, I walk up and I see Nova. She's way smaller than me. Like, I have to initiate that hug, right? So they do the same thing with Domingo. They see Domingo like, oh, that little guy probably needs a hug.
Everybody needs to be loved. Everybody needs a hug. So if you're out there and you don't get a hug from me, yeah, there's probably a reason.
Hello,
Welcome.
everyone. Whoa, I thought I was going to do it.
Oh, you're doing it. Sorry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 62 of the Slightly Serious Sign podcast. This episode, wow, is sponsored by Nakusa, Vanguard, and Metamark. So shout out to you guys. We appreciate you guys supporting the podcast. Apparently we had some miscommunication to start this. Nobody knows who's doing the intro anymore. So
It's only been a year and you guys still can't figure it out.
yeah, it's been longer than that. We still haven't gotten it down. I was just making a joke this weekend that I think the new tagline for the podcast is going to be the #1 sign podcast as voted on by Wensco Sign Supply employees, since it's at least 25% of our listenership.
Or more.
So we appreciate you guys for listening. If you're hearing this, the day it comes out, this is the Monday after ISA. So if you're looking at this like, hey, what happened at ISA? We recorded this a week in advance. So obviously we can't give you ISA news. Next Monday, you'll see one on ISA recap, assuming everything goes well and we actually record that episode, because we haven't done it yet, obviously. But you'll hear from us. And then the next 4 or 5 after that will all be podcasts that we recorded at the show. So you're going to get some kind of live reactions, what's going on in the industry, meet some new people that haven't been on the podcast before, which will be good. And yeah, so the next episode sounds a little different and the next ones after, it'll all sound different because they won't be here in the studio after we spent this long trying to build it and then just immediately recorded them all offsite. So, but yeah, do we have new guests? Not really, but Domingo's with us. Obviously you guys have seen him. Bob's been on before, but I'll let Bob introduce himself again in case you didn't hear the first one. But today, the big question that all of us have been getting lately, especially, is what's going on with tariffs? How's it affecting you guys? How's it affecting stock? How's it affecting pricing? Who has tariffs? Who doesn't have tariffs? What prices is changing, aren't changing, all that kind of stuff. So we'll talk about everything we at least can today, hopefully. And hopefully you'll know a little more than you did before. So Bob, if you want to introduce yourself again.
Bob Nachtegall, Purchasing Director here at Wensco. Been here about 7 years. And tariffs are a fun part of the job now. So new thing.
So tariffs are just going to go up. Prices are going to go up. So we're done. All right. Good night.
That was it. Yeah. We did have a question for Bob. So Bob, where did you work before Wensco?
Oh gosh, where did I work, Domingo?
I don't know. It was a fabulous place.
Was it?
It was a dream world.
It was a dream world.
Yeah.
Have you guys listened to the podcast today yet?
There's no way they've listened to it yet.
Because we talk about Advantage at the end.
Yeah.
Is that
I thought you were talking about Grimco, I thought. Oh no. Okay. Oh, Advantage. That's right. I worked at Advantage too. That's right.
Was I right about how Advantage works back in the day? That y'all come in, you take the first 2 hours to hug each other, and then have a quick meeting, go to lunch, and then work for a little bit, then hug each other.
I'll tell you what. When it comes to hugging, there are people that love to hug because they feel appreciated, and there are some people that don't hug, that don't give a damn.
Yes.
And sometimes it may hinder your view of that person, right? But if you really look at it, they're the ones that really need the hug. They weren't loved when they were little.
I was not loved when I was little.
No. You know, we actually at Advantage back in the day, we'd actually have a managers meeting every morning, and we'd have to stand in a circle and give updates of everything that you were working on, and everybody would know what you were doing. Mm-hmm. I'm glad we don't have to do that because it was just bad. I mean, it was the same stuff over every single day, right, Mark?
Yep.
You could almost play a recording every morning.
Almost.
Pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some good stuff, but there was some stuff that was just like, why are we doing this?
Like every year we tried something new, right?
Yeah,
with
we did.
meetings and with books and I don't know. I mean, it wasn't all bad, but
No, it was not.
some of it was.
It was fun.
Read books, do your planner, and give hugs.
We just ask because every show.
Yeah, I heard the podcast. I heard every
Domingo's
show.
got to hug every single former Advantage employee, which is 75% of the people at the show somehow.
But it's also vendors that
anybody
come
else
to
who
hug.
knows. And anybody else who knows.
Am I initiating it or are they initiating it?
It's usually you.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You must.
Yeah, I
just,
can see you.
You must
You're a
just
hugger.
look very huggable.
No.
That must be what it is.
Listen, I know what it is. You think like, okay, I walk up and I see Nova. She's way smaller than me. Like, I have to initiate that hug, right? So they do the same thing with Domingo. They see Domingo like, oh, that little guy probably needs a hug.
Everybody needs to be loved.
Everybody needs a hug.
Everybody needs a hug. So if you're out there and you don't get a hug from me, yeah, there's probably a reason.
I'm really glad we got our. Rick, play that one as the intro, please. Oh, that was beautiful. Yeah, that was great. So yeah, Rick asked that we start this more lighthearted, so we did it, I think, successfully. How long? Yeah, we're 6 minutes in. We did it. We didn't want to go all negative with tariffs, so you guys get to hear about.
Well, it's not all negatives. There's positives to the tariffs.
That's true.
Yep.
I mean, there are some. I mean, we just talked about it, Mexico and Canada.
Yep.
Because of that trade agreement, that there are certain. I think it just really needs to be brought down or broken apart. Because I'm getting questions: is this particular product on the tariff list? And it's like, there's really no big answer for that. And that's why it's like, why can't we break this down? Is it metal? Is it adhesives? Is it coating? What is on this tariff list that's going to impact our customers? And I think that we talked about Canada and Mexico. There's still tariffs there, but in the sign industry, there's really not a lot of tariffs. You got corrugated plastics that are coming out of Canada that are not infected. But if they come out of China, they are.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's really weird.
It varies by country. That's
Yeah,
kind of what I'm
exactly.
seeing. So
Yeah.
I think we're starting to really realize, though, how much of our products, even though a lot of them are American made, are not necessarily American. I mean, they might be made in America, but a lot of that stuff's coming from other countries. We're starting to realize, like, it doesn't affect one or two products.
Yeah. If you go back and pull the clip from when we had Matt Edwards on, that was like the first thing of the year. And I made the joke that you're going to see a bunch of companies that have American made products that have increases due to tariffs. Right. And you're going to have to start asking some questions. And we're hitting that, right? We're products that are made here, in the States somewhere. And then you're getting, 8-9% increases on tariffs. And you're going, well, I'm not sure how that one works.
Well, I'll give you an example. Every manufacturer that does vinyl, the liner itself comes from Europe. That 90%, 95% of the liners come from Europe. So there is a tax there. But even though they assemble it or produce it here in wherever, Minnesota or whatever, Wisconsin, they're subject to that increase that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, American made can mean a lot of things, right? Because they might be assembling it here in the U.S., and so they'll call it American made, but they're sourcing half the raw materials from overseas.
Yeah.
So what does that really mean when they say American made? I mean, it varies from supplier to supplier, I think.
Yeah. And you're seeing that, across the board. You're just seeing it with vinyl, with aluminum. All the companies we buy, like aluminum is one of the ones that's been hit the hardest out of everyone. And all the companies, basically most of the companies we currently buy aluminum from are here. Like they're based here in the United States, but like the components they're mostly not here. Right. And that's kind of, the tariff we saw, that was 2020. We saw the original hit on aluminum or whatever it was. That was the reason why, they were looking at it as we don't make a lot of this here. Right.
Right.
And that's kind of the whole point of it was like, none of it's made here. So how about we give some incentive to start making it here? And it works partially, right? Our ACM, our ELF panel is currently at least not, our some of our ACM is being made here in the States now versus before. I mean, 4 years ago there was none, right? And now 4 or 5 of companies like us are buying ACM here that's being made in the States.
I
right?
think they're the only ones making it here in the U.S. right now.
Correct. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Everyone else says the same thing, right? Yeah. Right. Our ACM is being made in Texas. Like, oh, well, that's weird. That's what everyone else also said. So yeah, we'll actually talk about that too, because what was that noise?
What was that noise?
Oh, someone hit the side of our building. They're weed whipping the side of the building.
The weed whacker. Yep. This must be right outside your door here.
Have you heard the rumbling noise in the background? Yeah, they must literally be mowing, of course, as soon as we start recording, and they're literally right outside the wall. So that's how it works. But yeah, I mean, it went from we make none of it here to at least some of it's being made here, which I think is the goal, right? It just hurts a lot right now, and all of that stuff is kind of hitting all at the same time. Yeah, so I'll just start going through some of the questions I had, and hopefully it'll bring up some stuff that people had questions on, kind of as we go through. So we talked about cost. Obviously, that's being affected with tariffs. But how are we seeing tariffs affecting availability of product currently?
That's a tough one right now, because the stuff that's coming overseas right now, it's on the dock or on a boat, and now they're saying that, depending on where that location came from, they're saying that it's 100% more now. So are we going to pay that price? And how are we going to pay that price? And how are we going to eat some of that? Are they going to eat some of that? So we're still trying to figure that out. But right now, I think we're sitting on a container, right, Bob?
Well, you have distributors who are trying to figure out, what should they do? Are they going to pay the higher cost and pass it along to the customer, or are they going to source it from somebody here in the U.S.? And that can cause supply chain disruption, right? Because if you're gonna wait, then because you want a cheaper product, well, that might mean several weeks, if not longer, to get that product here in the U.S. But otherwise, you're gonna, if you don't run out, you're gonna have to pay more. The customer's going to pay more. So it varies by product to product, and we're seeing that, I think, right now with the electronic stuff, right? Yeah, a lot of the electrical materials.
Yeah, we have a chance of. Wensco always buys. We always buy a lot, and we always want to have it in stock. But there are certain products that we sell so much of that there could be a possibility of a shortage that we may have to buy or pay for that higher price to get the product in, because we want our customers to have the product. Yeah, but it's not all products. There's just a handful that come into play, I think. Yeah. But again, when you start saying, do I buy it? Do I pass it along? And how is that going to affect our relationship with our customer? I mean, the customers come first, right? I mean, that's kind of what we believe in. And the question is, when that time comes, what are we going to do? Yeah. So that's why the ISA is a great show to go to, where you can actually see all the connections that you can make and look for alternative products or sources that we can get it that's in the United States that doesn't increase that large, or look for, like we were saying, Mexico or Canada. There's opportunity there. There's always going to be an opportunity. The question is, you got to find the right vendor and the right relationship, because there's still a lot of vendors out there that you hear in the business world, they're not good. They don't have stock well. Their billing is all messed up, and mixed shipments. I mean, heck, we're getting it still right now with mixed shipments and product not being correct on the pack slip. Yep. And it's just a little more work for us to kind of fix those things. But I think the opportunity is going to come up that we're going to come up on top. I feel.
I think this is something I'll let you chime in on too, but I think something we've done really well is working really well currently is we've had options that we don't buy from, but we've at least maintained the relationship enough to know that when we needed them, right? I mean, we're running into it with products that we were getting out of China, and we had the option to get them, let's say, out of Canada is a good example of this. And, before the price didn't make sense, right? But we still maintain that with them and have had enough of a relationship that once these hit, reach out to them and be like, hey, like, I know this didn't make sense before, but now it makes sense. Like, are you guys still interested in doing business? And it's worked in our favor, at least, right? And the same with like even before this with Lord Adhesive, when we talked about it, like we were we were maintaining relationships with multiple adhesive companies, and we talked about this before. Did we need to do that? No, it's probably more work and more money on our side to do it that way. But it works out when something like that does happen and everyone else is trying to reach out to the companies you're already doing business with, because you're like, yeah, we already kind of spread ourselves out far enough that this made sense. So, yeah, that's kind of the benefit of like something like NASSD is a good example of that.
Yeah, it's just maintaining all the relationships you can possibly maintain. You don't want to burn any bridges. So that works out well for us. And when we need a certain product, it's a simple text message. Hey, I think we need to do business with you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it goes from there.
Yeah. And sometimes it works both ways, right? Sometimes it's them pushing back, me like, oh, I don't think it's the right fit for us. And sometimes it's us pushing back, like, oh, it's not the right fit. But at some point, like, stars align, right? And this, or tariffs doesn't make sense to buy from the people we already were buying from. And now it's like, okay, well, let's do something.
It opens up different avenues, different opportunities. I mean, right now I'm getting emails. I want you guys to carry our product, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And it's like, which is great. But when do you say, you know what? I don't want to say no. I want to say, hey, why don't you pass me the pricing so I can, just in case, because you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really,
just don't know.
It really tests the relationship too you've got with the existing suppliers, because they want to do everything they can to keep the business, obviously, but they've got to make it competitive. And if they can't do that, then they know we're going to look elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we just had a meeting last week. This is a good example of this where, so the tariffs, technically speaking, hit once it lands on our shore, right? Meaning in theory, we could place an order under a certain price, and by the time it lands, we could pay a completely different price for that product. We had a meeting last week where the vendor is basically saying, like, we commit to the price on order, right? Meaning if you place the order, that's the price you're going to pay regardless of what happens. And that's them saying, like, we're willing to bear the burden, right? Because I think what they're seeing is people holding off, nervous that more tariffs are coming. And they're saying, like, okay, how about we bear that weight, right? If you like the price that we currently have, we'll say, like, that's it. You're going to pay that price. If it lands and it's more expensive, that's on us, right? At this point. And that's the kind of things that are going to have to happen for us to be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Because currently, if you're looking at shipping a product in, from on a boat, it's going to be weeks before it gets here.
Right.
And who knows what's going to happen. And at the rate things are changing now, like 4 weeks from now, it could be completely different again. And you have no idea. So unless they're willing to step up, I think it's really difficult. And some of them are. So that's,
I think Roland did a good job in the sense that they saw what was going on in the market. They saw the uncertainty, and they released a letter saying things are going to change. We're not sure exactly what yet and when, but we're not prepared to announce everything that's going to change. Yeah. I mean, so they're kind of laying the foundation and saying, get ready, but we don't know yet what's going to happen. And I think they were responding in part to like what we saw with Epson, where they released changes and then tariffs changed like the next day. So they had to reverse those changes. And, you don't want to have to find yourself in that position.
We did mention that on the podcast, I think, when it happened. Yeah. But we didn't mention the name because I didn't want to throw them under the bus.
Well, you can always bleep it out.
Well, no, we're good now because everybody knows, though. Yeah. They went out to everybody. So they sent out an increase, and then the tariff got recalled, and they're like, oh, okay, just kidding. No increase. That's right. So I appreciate that. I think it's requiring everyone to be way more nimble, right? The price changes are coming so fast now that we're having to just stay on top of it.
When you say that, we actually, Mike and I had a meeting with a vendor, and, they gave us, we'll lock in your price. I'll tell you what, that catches our attention 100%. Yeah. When they say you're going to lock the price in, I'm listening. What is that? And can you give us something in return for it? Or what do we got to do? Our ears are open. And I think a lot of negotiating is going to happen with our current vendors, that I think they're going to start looking at the long haul between our relationship with Lensco. Yeah. And I think they need to really take a look at that and figure out some other ways. There are different ways to do price increases and all that stuff. But it was I guess my ears were really open when it was announced or when they said that. Yeah. And I'm like, I hope others are going to do that.
The nice part about the tariffs happening is we were just joking about how you guys had the same meeting every morning. And that's what we joke about ISA, right? We walk around, we talk to the same people, mostly the same conversation, right? It's a little different every year, but for a lot of times it's the same, right? We're doing the same thing. Yeah. It's beneficial for sure, but most of the time it's the same conversation. This year will not be that. No. It's going to be a completely different show, right? We're going to be walking around and be like, what's going on? Where's it coming from? Are you guys doing anything about it? Has anything changed? Is any of it going to the US for manufacturing? Like these are completely different conversations than we usually have at the show. But in terms of like for the sign business, I think these conversations are going to be super beneficial long-term, right? The more of it that realizes like, hey, this isn't a great long-term solution, right? Or maybe the companies that said, hey, we're making it in the US and now we're being completely exposed are going to say like, okay, well, we could, like that's the problem with most of them. They could make it here and then they just kind of make most of it over there and then bring it over here and finish it. So I think we're going to see changes that for the long term of the sign industry are probably super beneficial. It's just not fun in the short term for us. So
I think everyone's still waiting, right? They want to see how long the tariffs are going to last.
Yeah.
If it looks like they're going to be long term, I mean, you can't start manufacturing here in the U.S. if those tariffs are going to get, revoked 6 months from now, right? And it's back to what you were dealing with on the price.
That 90 days isn't enough time to start a whole new plant.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So even ISA, I mean, I don't know. You guys have to tell me afterwards, but I think there's still going to be a lot of uncertainty even at the show of people not sure what they're going to do next. But, a lot of people are sitting on inventory. We were no exception. So when you talk about passing along price increases, it's just going to vary by supplier depending on what they had sitting in the U.S. before any of these hit. And everybody's holding off as long as they can to try to avoid raising prices. We've been no different, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, like I had some of the bigger franchises reaching out. They keep asking for updates pretty much like every few weeks. They're asking, hey, any new updates? And the thing I've been kind of sending every time I reach out to them is like, this is your time to shop around, right? Like if you haven't used like Wensco before, like this is the perfect time to look at us. And it's definitely working, right? I mean, I'm getting more requests from franchises than I ever have before because they're seeing massive price increases on their side and they're reaching out and saying like, hey, are yours hit? Have yours already gone up? And a lot of the stuff, I mean, look at the barn as a good example here. Like a lot of the stuff we knew it was coming, right? We're just sitting on it, meaning our prices haven't gone up on a lot of the stuff yet, right?
Not yet.
It's definitely coming and some of them have already gone up, but for the most part, we're sitting in a pretty good spot. And that's as of the end of April, right? If you're listening to this in the future, things could completely have changed. Okay. So let me time date it at least now, but yeah, it's a great time to look for alternative sources if you're seeing huge price increases. And we know a lot of our competitors have done those increases already, but it's who bought better and who has more stock is really what it comes down to, which is basically, I mean, it feels like we're doing COVID all over again at this point is what it feels like. So it's kind of crazy, but yeah, a great time to shop around. The question I had for you that we talked about before we got on here is how's this changing our conversations with new vendors that want to sign up?
They're still open. I mean, we still cover our basis of questions between any new vendor. Where is it sourced? How are we getting it? What do we have to buy? I'm not going to buy 10,000 squeegees because that's the minimum.
Yeah.
I think that conversation is going to change as well. I think they're going to start lowering their minimums of what we need to buy at one time. I think that would be the logical way to do it if they want us to carry their product, right? I mean, if you tell somebody that it's a new vendor and here's the minimums, well, no, we're not going to do that. So see ya. But, if they start lowering it, we have a lot of new vendors that are actually saying, you know what, we just want to start. Just give us an order.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. So I think the questions are still going to remain the same. What terms they have, where is it coming from? Does it fit the portfolio that we're looking for? Is this a product that is going to sell a lot? A lot of the products we get, we have 1 or 5 customers that want it.
Yeah.
We need 100 customers that want it.
Yep.
So we have to put those in play and we have to ask the right questions. But I think when it comes to a new vendor, we are always going to be open to listening to what they have.
Yeah.
And I always want to keep it open, but there are some times that we have I don't need another adhesive right now, right?
Right.
We have too many.
Yeah.
But that's what we want.
Yep.
But, we'll keep our ears open, and hopefully there's something that's new or something that we can take advantage of that we feel that's going to be beneficial for us as well as the customer.
Sorry to interrupt you guys, but I just want to take a minute to talk about Nakusa, the name behind our tape. Our tape's the #1 application tape out there, but they are more than just tape now. Nakusa has a full range of products out there. Their new one is called NextBond. This is a UV cured adhesive. Why does that matter? It's an eco-friendly and durable option, but comparable to most of the eco-friendly options, this is a cost-effective product. So if you're looking for an eco-friendly product or a durable product or just in general a good vinyl, NextBond is going to be the one for you. This is available at wensco.com as well as all of their other products. So check it out at Wensco or reach out if you have any questions. Oh, and don't forget to use your Nakusa bucks. Have you heard about Metamark? Metamark is a company that sells premium graphic solutions for commercial and fleet signage. So whether that's walls or it's vehicles or it's tables or doors, we loved it so much we put it all over the podcast studio. So you can check it out on our videos or at wensco.com. Yeah, it's been an interesting year for sure. But I think one of the things we talked about too before on this is if we're finding out the country of origin is one that's under massive tariffs and they're giving us the like, oh, don't worry, we'll get it to you. You don't have to worry about it. Probably still is a no right now, right? Like that's a short-term solution because eventually, I mean, that's why from our perspective, that's why all the other tariffs went into place, right? Because as soon as the tariffs to China went into place, all of a sudden the country of origin just changed on our paperwork coming in, right? Like it's like, okay, obviously everyone else saw that, right? It's like, all of a sudden we increased tariffs on China and then all of a sudden Vietnam imports just go through the roof, right? It's not like they just immediately were like, oh yeah, Vietnam makes 50% more than they did last week.
Yeah, it's like the U.S. government didn't see that or something.
Exactly. So like everyone that's saying like, oh no, we'll figure it out. Like that's just it's not going to work long term.
The other thing I think about too is that, if you have a supplier who's like, you know what, I know the tariffs are high, but we're going to keep your price where it is because, we want your business that bad. The first thing that comes to mind is, how big was your margin to begin with? Where was that coming from? Yeah. So obviously there was room.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we saw this with promos like in the last 4 years too, where a vendor will be like, "Hey, we're reducing the price," and it'll be like a massive amount, and you'll be like, "You're not willing. I know you're not willing to lose money, right? So that means we already know where you're at now, right? You're like, if here you're still making money, but we were way up here before. Yeah. Obviously, something was a little weird, and it's weird when they show their cards that way. It'd be like, oh yeah, their price went up 40%, and they're like, yeah, we'll keep your price the same. And you'd be like, how much were you making before? What's going on? So
another example is the acrylic. Bob and I have been kind of trying to find acrylic and stuff like that, but they're kind of going around different countries to channels to move it, and then they get slapped for another one, and then they go to the slap for the other one. Yeah. It's like, what is the price? Give me the price.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny too that it's like they're all just trying to avoid this thing versus like actually trying to solve the problem.
Exactly.
And then to make it even worse, like now we're just dealing with the vendors, just like at least new ones will just like straight up, I mean, like literally lie about it. Be like, oh yeah, we're making it in, and then later you find out, oh no, it's in China. And they're like, oh yeah, no, it's in China. We just ship it out of Vietnam. Like, we asked you where you make it and you told us this. Yeah. Like that's the stuff we're dealing with on our side, right? Where they don't even want to tell us the truth because they know it's an immediate no. So they'll be like, yeah, we ship it out of Vietnam. Be like, no, we asked where it's made. Yeah, we ship it out of another country.
The one concern that I have is when you ask a vendor, so we know it's coming from China. What is the price increase? What are the numbers? Crickets. They don't know. They can't give us an answer. That kind of concerns me. Yeah. When you start, talking to them and they're, well, we're still waiting on this, and
well, I mean, it's like, from like those specific countries, right? So, I mean, the U.S. has implemented tariffs, right? But the other countries have done retaliatory. So sometimes they're getting dinged twice, right? To ship it out. Yeah. And they haven't done the math, right? Where it's like, okay, well, at what point do I pay that percent, right? Do I pay before this one or after this one? Because that obviously changes it. So like, I don't even think a lot of them have figured out the math, right? I think they're like,
Well,
okay, let's ship one out and see what our tariff bill is when it comes back. Like, I don't know.
I knew executive order could come out tomorrow too, and that's what a lot of the concern is.
And it can happen when it's on the water, which is like you're stuck. You already have it on the way. What are you going to do with it?
We have one, 2 of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
The other one, is there any specific product categories that have been hit harder than others, at least currently speaking? Again, date this as late April 2025.
Do you want to get into brands or just general
product groups?
I'm going to say, I'm going to tell you right now, LEDs are going to go up.
Yep.
They're going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So whoever's manufacturing in Mexico or Canada or here in the U.S., there's opportunities there.
Yeah, I've seen.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying I've seen transformers and sticks double in price, not just recently.
Yeah, I mean we saw sticks double. Yeah, last week one of them, which is crazy because there's new ones. We know new products are going to get announced at ISA, and a lot of them are in the LED space. And you'd be like, are they even going to have pricing? Like, do they have any idea what it's going to cost at this point? So yeah, LEDs for sure. I know aluminum's one that hit early for a lot of this stuff.
I think we've weathered that pretty well so far.
Yeah, it seems like
there's going to be some increases, but I mean, so far I think we've done pretty well.
Yeah, it helps. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of them, like I said, a lot of it at least is being manufactured here, which is limiting the total increase on price for sure on that. Mm-hmm. Is there any other product groups that come to mind besides those 2 currently?
I think not significant. I don't think. I would expect acrylics, eventually, but I don't know how big that'll necessarily be. But no, it's really mostly electrical is what I'm seeing so far. And some of that speaks to, how the tariffs are not applied universally across all products, across all countries. It varies. And we've already talked about how people are shifting product from country to country to try to at least reduce the tariff hit, to keep the plants operating. So I still think they're sorting that out. Yeah.
The one I've seen that hasn't, if I'm being honest with you, has not really hit us. And this isn't me trying to, it is me trying to talk nicely of Wensco, but, calendared vinyl, like your cheap calendared vinyl. I've seen that's one of the things that people have been reaching out to us about is like, hey, we're looking for an alternative to X product, right? And it's just the cheap calendared vinyl because a lot of that stuff was just being imported white box from Asian countries and it's completely changed. So I think in calendar vinyl, 2 things are going to happen. One, you're going to see big price increases from some of those products that are coming in. The second thing you're going to see is a complete formulation change on the product that you were buying before, right? And they're hoping you're buying this as cheap, white, and sticky. You don't care about how it's being made because they're going to switch complete plants, right? And bring it in as the same product line that they had before. So that's something to be aware of that we're getting questions on. We haven't really had that issue because it doesn't come from that country.
There's still a lot of manufacturers here in the U.S. that can do cheap calendared vinyl.
Yeah. We announced, they launched, I guess I should say, the General Formulations
Economy line.
And that's being made here, right? It was for them, perfect timing. I don't know when they started working on it, but for them, it couldn't have come at a better time because they're not going to see price increases on that product. Even if everything changes, it's going to mostly stay the same. And it's definitely competitive compared to the other ones in the market currently. And that's pre any price increases, which we haven't seen a ton, but we know that they're coming because we've talked to some of them about it already. Yeah. So,
and we have stock.
So yeah, that brings up a great point though. Like one of the ththings like I brought up earlier to look at is just, you need to look at other options for the existing products, right? So if you're buying, sorry again for the noise again, they're coming, they got to mow outside our office 4 times apparently. So,
they missed a spot.
Apparently.
Unbelievable. Well, the timing is just perfect.
Yeah. And they just keep going back and forth. There. The first time I thought it was a helicopter flying like way over our buildings. Like, what is going on out there? So they're coming back in.
Yeah, there they go.
The funny part is I don't know what the mic is picking up versus what I'm actually actively hearing. I have no idea. So again, we apologize. This will still sound better than the ISA ones when we're doing it at the show.
For sure.
We're just prepping you guys.
This is prepping for ISA right now.
We're just prepping you for the background noise you're going to hear for the next 7 episodes. So, yeah, just looking at alternatives that are out there in the market, right? Like there's going to be categories that are hit really hard, but there's going to be apples in the rough there they were making it here in the States and they were maybe slightly more expensive before, and now they're in the perfect spot, which like the general formulation economy is the one we brought up.
Yeah,
So
one I'm surprised I have not heard anything about yet is the banner. So
that
I mean,
is, that's on the radar right
it
here.
is, but
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing okay.
which is crazy because it feels like it should have already hit.
Yeah.
Right. Like the rate at which we sell it means we're bringing it in frequently and I know you guys have, but I was on one of those calls where we reached out and it was, hey, is this coming? And they're like, no, we got nothing. They're coming back again.
Which gets me back to the whole point of what were you making on that banner to begin with? Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny when it's like the opposite of what we were talking about earlier, right? Where we thought it was coming from China, and then later they're like, no, and you're like, you didn't even you reverse lied to us. In our head, it was like, yeah, this is obviously coming from China, right? And they're like, no, it doesn't come from China. And they're like, nobody told us that before. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, it was never coming from there. You're like, oh, well, cool, I guess. So I'm sure some of them are seeing that, right? Especially like private label banner, but currently ours is fine, I guess. We'll see.
Well, we have some increases on some of our banner line.
Yeah, but not the 104% that we were expecting to see from them. So,
be prepared, it's coming.
yeah, it could be. That's kind of what we're bringing it up. Like,
in other words, right now, people buy now.
yeah, which I think is what people are doing as well, right? We're running into the COVID toilet paper situation where people are like, okay, I need to buy. I mean, it happened with I feel bad for all the people that did that, like with Epson inks, right? We're like, hey, price increases are coming. They're like, we're going to buy everything you have. And then Epson's like, psych. They're like, okay, well, I guess I got a little extra ink sitting around here now. Like, what? Like, how's that happen? So the other one, this will be a good question for you, I guess. How transparent do you think us sign suppliers should be about kind of what's going on with tariffs and how that's affecting pricing, or how open are we about it, I guess?
I think we're pretty open about it. Like when we have a price increase, we try to put it out there, but like we've said on a lot of podcasts, like look at every invoice right now. Literally look at every invoice you get, whether it's from us or it's from somebody else, because we can't possibly communicate every single one to make sure you hear it.
Yeah.
So just look at every invoice and question what's on the invoice. Did it go up? Yes, it went up. So, and that's from us or from somebody else. Just question every invoice.
Yeah. And the other thing to know that is, this is what I told the franchises too. It's not like we're just going to sit back and let price increases happen, right? If we can find an alternative solution that isn't increasing in price, then we're probably going to switch. So you're going to see a lot of that.
And it's not like the days of old either where, hey, you're going to have a price increase come May. It's like you have a price increase yesterday.
Next PO.
Right. Yeah. On the one that you already ordered.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some of them. Yeah. Yeah. It's happening faster than ever. I mean, even during COVID, at least was incremental, right? I mean, we'd meet literally every week and be like, okay, next week it's these two. We're finding out retroactively, be like, oh yeah, the price went up already. Like the stuff we purchased, it had already gone up in price before we even placed it. So, it's kind of crazy. The next question I have, kind of talking future of tariffs, and obviously we're just speculating here, so don't take anything we say, but what do we think the future, let's say Q3 and 4 of 2025 looks like with the current landscape? And that's what products we're buying, what the prices will be, all that kind of stuff. What do you think I
think it depends on what the objective really is, and I don't think we really know what the objective really is. Is the objective to make it equal trade? Is the objective to make it to have it made in the United States? Which I don't think that's actually the objective, is to bring everything to made in the United States.
Take too long.
I think it's more of objective, like, okay, we need equal trade, or we need to make it close.
Yeah. And
I think that's more what it is, and some of it's a power trip probably too, but when you're sitting in the spot that U.S. is sitting in, we can do that. But no, I think it's more of trying to get equal trade. So will it all equal out? Maybe. You hope so.
Yeah.
You hope by midsummer that we kind of know, okay, this is what these products are going to cost. This is why.
Yeah.
And you can choose to try to make it in the United States. I think of even Transformers going double in price. They can make them here in the United States.
Yeah.
But it's still cheaper to pay double from Canada, because it costs us that much more to make them here.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a mix, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a mix.
I think it seems like the goal is to level the trade deficit, right? So there's no more deficit. And if you can accomplish that, then for some products, it might make more sense to make them here in the U.S. Other products, it'll still make more sense to get them overseas. But which ones, it's hard to say right now.
I think that my gut tells me that there's going to be increases that are going to be coming on certain products, not all products. The only thing is that I think that there's going to be, some are going to be 5%, some are going to be 10%, some may be 20%, but it's going to be just a whole array of different pricing for everything. And I think it's going to go back to the customer really paying attention to their invoices, what they're buying. I think this opens the door for more shopping for us, or customers going to our website to take a look at what the price is or what we offer.
Yeah.
My only message that I'd like to give the customer is that try to look at getting a lot of the products from Wensco, not just because this product is, the best price and then they're $1 more on these other things. You got to take everything in consideration. What I mean by that is if we can deliver it to you for $3, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Order more. So that way
and we're not dumping brands either. If you're ordering that Allenson power supply from us, 5 years from now, you're still going to be able to order that Allenson power supply from us. It's not going to be, we need to switch you to this because we're no longer selling that. We're selling what you're buying. Right. And we're not just pulling it away saying, hey, you need to go buy this because we don't want to stock that product anymore. So
if anything, we're going to increase the options.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just a hypothetical scenario though, right? We're not talking about anyone specific.
No one specific, just hypothetical.
Hypothetically, we're not going to drop 3 or 4 of our LED options and just carry one.
No.
Okay. Just checking. The other thing, what? I was just asking a question.
Yeah. I got it.
Do we want to talk about, they got a new LED out.
You did talk about it before. Do you want to do the full intro? We sent it to them this morning, so we'll hopefully launch the actual video pretty soon.
No, we shouldn't probably talk about it. But you know how you know if you make a really crappy product? Like if you make the worst product out there, what don't you do?
But wait, ask Bob and Bingo.
What don't you do? If you make a terrible product, I shouldn't say terrible. If you just make a product you're not proud of, what don't you do?
You don't advertise.
I was going to say, don't market it.
You don't put your name on it either, right?
Exactly.
Definitely don't put your name on it if it's a crappy product, right?
Correct.
Yeah, if it's a product you're concerned about, maybe the quality once it's in the field isn't that great, that's the one thing I wouldn't do. So if you happen to see
your name on it.
Yeah, if you happen to see one that doesn't have someone's name on it, this is a hypothetical scenario though. We're not talking about anyone specific.
But if you say you open up this channel letter because all these are out and you're like, I wonder what this is. And you pull it out.
And you can't tell what it is.
And it doesn't have
a
manufacturer's name on it.
Nothing.
Just has a part number. You have to kind of Google the part number to find out where it might go to.
Yeah,
that would be a crappy product.
Or maybe it's like 40% dimmer than the previous LED you had in there. Hypothetical,
right?
I don't know. We might put out a video soon. Who knows? You never know. Anyways, the next question I have how are we currently trying to future proof ourselves from the current tariff situation?
Well, I think right now it's just keeping the dialogue open to all the vendors.
You can't future proof yourself because you never know if those tariffs are going to completely go away, and then you're sourcing everything in the U.S. when they can source it cheaper in Canada or in China.
That's what I mean. So communication.
You just have to keep your options open because you never know when that number is going to switch.
The one thing that we've done, and it doesn't guarantee anything, but you stock up. Right. When you can get product at a lower price, you stock up. And again, that just kicks the can down the road a little bit.
Yeah.
But it buys you the time that you want, maybe to see how things shake out.
It gives you options.
It gave us plenty of time to sit and listen and let it kind of relax. And we still got a little bit of time to let some of the stuff that we do get from there just relax. And some of that as you go back to our politics involved in your work. Well, they have to be because we're paying attention going tariffs are going to be an issue. We better start buying.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And we saw it way before there was even announced there was tariffs. We're like, that could happen.
Yep.
So it's part of us as a management team paying attention too. Like, we better buy up.
Yeah. The question I have, which you just went over too, is like, how has it changed how we currently inventory and price? Like, how has the current situation affected that?
I mean, price, like I said, we've held off as long as we can, and we'll continue doing that. But if things stay as they are, it's just a matter of time before pricing is going to go up. Inventory, like I said, we're sourcing product best we can to get the cheapest product and stock up on that. But there's only so much of that you can do right now until we know what's going to happen with the administration and more executive orders and tariffs and whether that gets reversed.
Yeah. I think something we mentioned at the beginning, but we didn't actually talk about, what are kind of some of the current like plus sides of the current tariff situation?
I think we're gaining more customers. I mean, that's key. I mean, we have products that a lot of customers are looking for, and I think we're gaining new customers and I'm getting emails, do you carry this? Do you carry that? Which is great, even from our sales reps. That means that customers are going to the sales reps and asking, do you carry this product? And they're coming to me to say, hey, do we carry it or can we get it? We have to look at all the questions come into play if it's a product that we need to bring in.
Yeah.
I mean, Metamark is coming out with the, all the MIA products. We're going to be putting that on the web.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is a great opportunity. The question is, what price do we have?
Yeah. Yeah. And even they're sitting in that spot too,
Exactly.
right? Where they know, like, here's what our price is like today, right? Yeah. The problem is we're in a spot where it could change tomorrow.
Correct.
Right? And we're talking about a product that we won't actually do for a few weeks, right? So they're saying like, okay, today, this is what it is, right? But like, this could change before we actually get the agreement signed and all that stuff. So it's just a weird spot to be in for everybody, right? This isn't just them specifically. This is just everyone in general, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it results in some more American-made products, that's not a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
That ends up being the cheapest option for us and for customers. That wouldn't be such a bad thing either.
Yeah, I mean, even on companies that they do some of their manufacturing here, but they do some elsewhere, and they're just like, hey, why don't we just, let's put in one more line? Probably not a bad idea at this point.
Right.
And that's a win, right? I mean, across the board. I mean, we've seen that. We talked about this with aluminum, but we saw this with some of the other options in the market where it was coming, overseas, and then they just moved some of it to the United States, right? It may not be everything, but some of it. So you're going to see a lot more, coming from here too.
As long as it's good quality product that they back it up and we can back it up.
Yeah.
Then we're open to those opportunities.
Yeah. The other, you talked about, this is bringing more opportunity to us too. I think the other benefit with it is, some customers may have been buying the same product, for 10 years, at this point, where they've just been buying the same one. And, two options here. One, it gives you the option to look at what the other options are out there, and it may not be the right solution for you at this point, right? But because you've been using the same one and the price was good, you've been using it, then the price goes up and you're like, hey, maybe this doesn't make sense anymore. Option two is you have been using the same product for 10 years and you've been buying from the same supplier for 10 years and you don't realize that their pricing actually isn't any good anymore, right? And as we've gotten more and more competitive, by the time they go to check after tariffs have hit, then it's like, oh, you guys have, they'd be like, oh, did you guys just change price? Be like, no, it's the way it's been for 5 years now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. But if you haven't shopped around in a while, right, you might not know that the pricing just is completely out of whack. So, so that's the other benefit I think we're going to see, and some of our customers will see as they continue to look around. The kind of one of the final questions I have here is, what advice do you have for sign companies currently trying to manage the fluctuating prices in the industry?
If you have a job that's you already bid out, it's 50 shops or whatever it might be, buy it. Literally buy it now. If you can afford it, buy it now, or work terms out with us or something. Yeah. So that way you don't have to worry about whether it went up or down. You've bid it out at that price. You bought it at that price. You don't have to worry later that, hey, it went up 40% and now I'm going to lose money. But also, we got a situation where someone bid out a job and they're worried about their ink price because the ink price went up. If you bid it out that close, then that's on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So some of that's like, don't bid it that close, but if you need it, buy it now. I got these 18 stores I have to buy all that product.
Yeah.
right now.
If you've been using, Transformer X for the last 5 years and you're buying it every 2 weeks and you've always bought it, but you just keep waiting and, you buy what you need for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now's the time to buy more because you're going to use it.
Yep.
So buy up while you can because the pricing, while it's still, where it's going to be lower.
And I mean, the thing I just talked to a customer about this, that while we're in this 90-day pause window, right, where it's at least relatively safer than it has been, right? It's still not going to be safe, but at least relatively more safe. We're in a position where we're way more likely to offer incentives for you to buy in bulk now because it's more beneficial for us to bring in more inventory now than it will be 6 months from now, right? So if you're saying, hey, I'm going to buy 3, 4, 5 months now versus, 6 months from now when we're back in a spot where it's who knows where we're going to be again, it's way easier to buy it now. So,
and we're not saying this because it's easier for us. It's actually harder for us when people come in and just buy us out of something.
Yeah.
But, trust me, I get that phone call.
Yeah.
Why are we out?
Yeah. A guy buys 10 a week. All of a sudden he buys 350.
Yeah.
Oh, we're out.
Yeah.
Well, so it's not easier for us, but it's the way to secure your price for as long as you need to secure your price for. Like you could even secure your price and mark it up. Say, hey, tariffs went up, and then you're sitting on low inventory.
Yeah, but it just gives you the safety for the next few months at least, especially on the products that you're using frequently, right? Like ACM.
But there are alternatives. I mean, I think of the Big O, 650 something.
Yeah,
there's an Metamark has an M7 series product that is better, cheaper, and lasts longer.
Yeah.
Than that product. So it's like,
which is what I talked about earlier, right? We have products that currently are the cheaper alternative pre-tariff, right? Yeah. So then once the tariffs hit and then they go to look, it's going to be so insanely price different that they're going to start asking questions like, "What? How did this happen?" You'd be like, "We were cheaper pre-tariff, and then tariffs hit, and we're like, yeah, we're still cheaper. In fact, we're even further cheaper than we were before, right?" So I think it's going to put some people in a really good spot that haven't shopped around in a while. To shop and see what else is out there, especially if you're willing to make a change on products. I mean, trust me, we'd love to sell you the same product you've been buying for 10 years. If you want to keep using it, we're going to try and make sure we still have it, especially in LEDs right now, right? That's going to be a problem for a lot of people. But if you're looking to change, right, you're using a vinyl, you've been using it for a few years and you're like, hey, we're looking for alternative options out here, especially on the lower end of the spectrum. There's a lot of options out there for you now. So well, cool. Any other big changes you guys see coming or anything that's?
Yeah, somebody mentioned hot dogs.
Yeah, you're upset the hot dog price went up.
It went up 25 cents
per hot dog.
Per hot dog.
That means we're gonna have to probably make one less visit next year. So instead of going 52 times,
we're
gonna have to go 51 times.
51.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Chill it out.
Yeah. I did notice. Yeah. The hot dog packs at Meijer were $1 for 8 hot dogs, which by the way, is still a great deal. Everyone's complaining here about eggs. Hot dogs were still
what
$1.
What kind of hot dogs are you buying?
The cheapest ones possible.
I think so.
I do not buy expensive hot dogs. I prefer the cheapest hot dog you can buy.
Listen, Chuck from Arlon gave Tony, these are the best hot dogs ever at some meat market and brought Tony some best hot dogs ever. What makes a best hot dog ever? Just give me a hot dog, put it in a bun, put a bunch of chili on it.
I literally, I've had good hot dogs, and I prefer the cheapest hot dog out there. I don't like beef hot dogs.
So that's the snappy.
Beef. No, the soft, the ones that everyone else would hate.
Soft, no snappy.
They might be 10% meat products and 90%. I have no idea what else, right? Taco Bell filling is probably what the rest of it is. That's my preference. But anyways, they were $1 4 weeks ago. And then I bought them last week and they were $1.25. So
see, 25 cents.
For the record, still a great deal.
Yeah, you still get it.
Well, it's that's what everyone was joking about egg prices. You're like, you realize how cheap that is though? When you're talking about it, it's okay, it was $2.25 and now it's $4.80. You're like, you realize that's still 40 cents an egg, right?
I said it before. It's the people that on Facebook, I see this big old rant about how expensive eggs are. The very next post they have is they're at Outback. Just delete the other post. Oh, you had to spend $4.80 on a dozen eggs, but you just spent $35 on a steak.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody complained about, shoot, Outback, you used to be able to eat In and Out at 25 and now it's 40 for a single person.
You guys hit me for 400.
We tried.
Thursday, 400.
We could have drank more. We didn't. So you're welcome.
Yeah. My birthday dinner.
You paid for your birthday dinner.
I paid for
They
my
took you
birthday
out,
dinner.
though.
They take me out every year. This year they got me for 400.
Here's my rule on dinner. If you send out the invitation, the assumption is that you're paying for it. That's my personal feelings on it. Okay.
So you invited people to your birthday dinner?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I said, where should we go out? But it doesn't matter. Was it 2-3 years ago? Dad, let's take you out to a Brazilian steakhouse for your birthday. I said, oh, okay, I'll go. Bill came. How are we separating the bills? I'm kind of like, and they're like, one bill. Dad's paying.
We almost got you to pay for the people that weren't even with us at the.
Yeah, they
one
tried.
we went to.
Yeah, we sat with two other couples.
Tate immediately, as soon as she said, how do we split the checks? He says, one bill. She says, one bill for the whole table. There's 4 people sitting at the table that we don't even know. Tate's like, yep, the whole table. And I was like, okay, the 4 at the end are not with us. She's like, I can't tell if you guys are joking or not. I said, he wasn't joking about the one check thing, but he is joking about the 4 people on the end of the table. I said, I know it's getting a little confusing. So yeah, it was a good
Well, I
dinner.
guess the record's 500 next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just keep trying to outdo it.
Micro increases, 425.
Tariff.
25% increase. Yeah, you're probably right. It'd probably
They
be,
have tariffs on hibachi.
well, they,
Yeah, just the people coming over, I think. I did leave my credit card there. I had to go back, so I ate again Saturday there.
Did you really leave it there? That's funny. Well, how long did it take you to get your card? Because we sat at the bar for 30 minutes.
I may have sat at the bar and had a plate of sushi, and then my card finally showed up.
I'm not surprised.
They're not very good at bartending at that restaurant.
No.
But they can cook some.
Yeah. The service once you get to the table is great. The service pre getting to the tables, it could use some work. They could have made a lot more money if they had just at any point said, "Hey, do you guys want to drink?" You're sitting at the bar. They didn't say anything the whole time, except for excuse me when they tried to walk by me 5 times. So, but yeah, that's all.
But if you guys never been there, Fujiyama, right up here on East Beltline.
Nope, I have not.
It's really good.
Oh yeah, been there.
The sushi is really good. I'm with you were complaining about it. I'm with Rick on this one. It was really good.
I must have just gotten bad sushi the first time I went there. That is my problem. When you go to a new restaurant, by the way, we're done talking about tariffs. So if you're listening now and you're like, hey, what's going on?
We're talking about sushi in Grand Rapids now.
So this is our tangent. Someone was making fun of us for how long our outros are, but my personal feeling on it, and I've heard other people say this in the podcast, like, oh, if you made it this far, like you obviously you just want to listen to us, right? So I can say anything I want at the outro. So if you made it this far, I literally thought this was going to say like 40 minutes. I'm 55 minutes in. If you made it this far in the episode, you probably at least mildly care about what I have to say. So then I can just talk about food. So my problem is when you go to a restaurant for the first time and it's like, everyone's like, oh, you need to go here. It's great. It's great. It's great. And then you go and then the food is mediocre. You have to play this game in your head that was like, okay, did I just get one bad meal or is this food actually mediocre?
Or do I trust this person telling me the next time where to go?
Yeah. It depends who told you that too,
exactly.
right? Like if
Chuck and your hot dogs.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, sometimes it's just food groups. So you know what I mean? Like they'll be like, oh, you should really go to. And I'd be like, okay, I think we just like totally different foods here. That might be the problem.
That's why I don't like critics.
Listen,
yeah, it's personal preference.
I don't like critic, like somebody that does pizza all the time, AKA Tony. They go, you got to try this pizza.
Yeah.
This is garbage. What?
It's gonna be
this is not garbage.
A $6 Little Caesars pizza.
I think about that. I may eat at Wild Wings a lot.
Yeah.
And every time, I would say 9 out of 10 times, you don't get good service anymore.
You just keep going back.
But I just keep going back. And it's not like, oh, they're the greatest wings ever anymore. Like some of them, some can use the big wings, some use the real small wings now. It depends on, I guess, what franchise you're with or whatever. But yeah, it's always crappy service. But you know what? Following week, where am I doing?
Back again.
I'm back again.
Yeah. But I mean,
I'm loyal.
It comes down to who recommends it. Like if Joe Morelli recommended a restaurant to me and I went there and it was bad, I would just be like, I must have just had a bad experience.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean,
Joe knows his.
Like Joe was with me. Joe and Damon from Geneva Capital were with me when we went to Harry and Izzy's for the first time, and it was awful. And enough people had told me about it that I was like, this has to be the exception to the rule, right? Like this has to have been like, I had the worst possible version of this restaurant. And we've been back since, and it is great food. And it was just like, okay, so how many times has that happened to you though, do you think? You've gone into a restaurant and had like just a poor experience. And if you had gone any other time, it would have been like, oh, this is one of my favorite restaurants. Like, I feel like that probably happens all the time.
You know what makes
now.
every restaurant better experience? That sake.
Okay.
When he shoots it across the table and it's like, now and then it's all down the front. Don't wear a good shirt there.
Okay. You know how many times we've all been to one of those restaurants when the people that were sitting with us obviously hadn't been there that many times, right? And if you haven't been, they have a bottle of sake, right? And they go around, does anyone want one? You say, yeah. And then they shoot it in your mouth, right? And the girl at the table says, yeah, I just want a little. And he says, okay, 5 seconds. And all of us in unison, he starts squirting. We go, 1, 2. At the same, we all were on the same page. He didn't say a word. We're like, we've been here enough times. This always happens, right? Someone's like, yeah, I just want a little. He's like, okay, 5 seconds. He'd be like, it's not a real 5 seconds. He's just going to keep going until that starts spilling out of your mouth. So great experience. Fujiyama is great.
Fujiyama's great.
Their sushi apparently is good. I had really bad sushi the first time I went, but
Rick told me, so when I had to go back and get my credit card, I'm like, I'm going to try it.
yeah, you had to try it. How does it compare to Meyer gas station sushi though?
It's not. Listen.
Wow.
I don't get it. It's not at the gas station. It's actually at the store in Fremont.
It's the same
Fremont has a sushi place in the store, and I probably eat it
Do they 2
or 3 nights a week.
Do they have a gas station? Does
They have a gas station.
Because it's the same food.
I should see if they have it at the gas station.
I get it at the Rockford one. It's fine.
They do make good sushi at Meyer and Fremont, at least.
I wonder if that's store specific. I wonder if it's like who makes it, or if it's they actually just use decent
No, my
ingredients.
daughter gets sushi at Meyer too.
It's good.
She said she likes it.
It's good.
It's priced that it should at least be good. It's not like $1.
It's
So
it's like $10 a roll.
Yeah, $10.
yeah, it's not terrible. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed our talk on food. ISA was last week. You'll hear about it all next week, Monday, and the next week, and the next week, and you'll see a bunch of videos from us. So if you're not following us on, I'll just say Instagram because that's the easiest one for me to upload stories to. If you're not following us on socials, 1, you should, but 2, if you want to see what's going on or what happened at ISA, follow us there. We'll have posted a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, if you have questions, let us know. But thanks for listening. You guys have anything else to add before we leave again?
Nope.
Nope.
Ready to roll.
For sponsorship from hot dog companies.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's 2 sponsorships we're looking for. One is chili dogs. So
Yes or no?
yes, dog, if you want to sponsor us,
Listen,
we'll
I
give
can
a
tell you
shout
what
out.
hot dogs Yesterdog gets, but I'll still hold those secrets.
Yeah. I know where they come from.
I know exactly what they are.
And they're also very cheap.
I could also spill out the chili recipe.
Yeah. The other sponsor that we could really use is somebody that can stock my fridge because these are getting expensive. So if anyone wants to help out, I talked to the Red Bull guy that drives the truck. Turns out he's not the one that makes those kind of decisions. But I let him know.
Hey, got to start somewhere.
So
you know what? Send that message to corporate.
So how it actually happened was we were looking at getting the coolers, and I was getting gas, and it's like, it must be this, I don't know what day it is. In my head, if I thought about it, it's probably the same day that this guy shows up, but he shows up the same time I always am getting there before I go to work. And he was parked so I could see in the back of his truck, and he had 2 Red Bull coolers in the back of his truck. So I was asking him, I was like, do you like pick them up or is it drop off? Like, how does that work? And he was like, it's kind of both. I was like, what do you guys do with them? He's like, we don't know. We send them back to corporate. I'm assuming they must like sell them off to people or something. But I was like, oh, it's funny. I said, yeah, I've been joking that I need a Red Bull sponsorship. He's like, yeah, me too. I was like, okay, we're on the same boat. So that's how it happened. So yeah, he's not the guy that makes the decision, but I'll let you guys know if it happens. It seems unlikely, but I don't know. I don't think they spend their money kind of weird. So maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we're in the budget next year. Guys, before we leave today, I just wanted to ask you one quick question. And that is, what is a pirate's favorite application tape? R tape. R tape is the #1 application tape in the United States, and it comes with an RLA, which is a release liner adhesion, meaning it's going to stick to the liner. Even on cut graphics, if you roll it, it's not going to tunnel, wrinkle, or curl, or anything like that. So if you're looking for the best application tape for cut graphics out there, R tape RLA is for you, and you can get it at wensco.com. So anyways, Bob, thanks for joining us. Domingo, you're always here, so thanks again.
Thanks.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
we'll see you guys at the next episodes at ISA. So
Yeah. See ya.
bye.